Welcome. Hare Kṛṣṇa. I see some newcomers here. What we do is we read Kṛṣṇa book, one chapter, and then we may discuss any questions or
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Kṛṣṇa. And then we're open for any other questions that might bubble up. And then we have a little kirtan. Is that a question or is that just adjusting a hand? Excuse me? I can't hear you at all.
I wanted to volunteer, but it was premature.
You wanted to volunteer to read? Okay. You have your own device or would you like mine?
Mine just died.
Okay. And we're on chapter number.
You can use my mod if you want to read one.
Well, I have one here. And we're on chapter 74, the deliverance of Shishupal. Hare Krishna. And are we good for seating? Yeah? I think we're pretty good for seating. Maybe you might want to move up a little bit because more people might come or people want to leave or whatever it is. Okay, ladies are okay. I think just the men needed to make some space there. Begin.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Chapter 74. King Yudhisthira became very happy after hearing the details of the Jarasandha episode, and he spoke as follows, quote, "My dear Krishna, O eternal form of bliss and knowledge, all the exalted directors of the affairs of this material world, including Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and King Indra, are always eager to receive and carry out orders from you. And whenever they are fortunate enough to receive such orders, they immediately take them and keep them on their hearts. O Krishna, you are unlimited, and although we sometimes think of ourselves as royal kings and rulers of the world and become puffed up over our paltry positions, we are very poor in heart. Actually, we are fit to be punished by you. But the wonder is that instead of punishing us, you so kindly and mercifully accept our orders and carry them out properly. We are all very much surprised that your lordship can play the part of an ordinary human being, but we can understand that you are performing these activities just like a dramatic artist. Your real position is always exalted, exactly like that of the sun, which always remains at the same temperature during both the times of the rising and the time of its setting. Although we feel the difference in temperature between the rising and the setting sun, the temperature of the sun never changes. You are always transcendently equipoised, neither pleased nor disturbed by any condition of material affairs. You are the Supreme Brahman, the personality of Godhead, and for you, there are no relativities. My dear Madhava, you are never defeated by anyone. Material distinctions, this is me, this is you, this is mine, this is yours, are all conspicuous by dint thank you, by dint of their absence in you. Such distinctions are visible in the lives of everyone, even the animals, but pure devotees are freed from these false distinctions. Since these distinctions are present in your devotees, they cannot possibly be present in you. After satisfying Krishna in this way, King Yudhishthira arranged to perform the Rajasuya sacrifice. He invited all the qualified brahmanas and sages to take part and appointed them to different positions as priests in charge of the sacrificial arena. He invited the most expert brahmanas and sages, whose names are as follows: Kṛṣṇa Dvayapana, Vyasadeva, Bharadvaja, Sumantu, Gautama, Ashita, Vashista, Chyavana, Kanva, Maitreya, Kavasa, Trita, Vishvamrita, Vamadev, Sumati, Jaimini, Kratu, Paila, Parashara, Gara, Vaishampanya, Atharva, Kashyapa, Daumya, Parasurama, Shukracharya, Ashuri, Vistotra, Madhu Chanda, Virasena, and Akrita Vrana. Hare Krishna. Besides all these brahmanas and sages, he invited such respectable old men as Dronacharya, Bhishma, the grandfather of the Kurus, Kripacharya, and Dhritarashtra. He also invited the sons of Dhritarashtra, headed by Duryodhana, and also the great devotee Vidura. Kings from different parts of the world, along with their ministers and secretaries, were also invited to see the great sacrifice performed by King Yudhishthira, and the citizens comprising learned brahmanas, chivalrous kshatriyas, well-to-do vaishyas, and faithful shudras, all visited the ceremony. The Brahman priests and sages in charge of the sacrificial ceremony constructed the sacrificial arena as usual with a plough of gold, and they initiated King Yudhishthira as the performer of the great sacrifice in accordance with Vedic rituals. Long years ago, when Varuna performed a similar sacrifice, all the sacrificial utensils were made of gold. Similarly, in the Rajasuya sacrifice of King Yudhishthira, all the utensils required for the sacrifice were golden. Present by the invitation of King Yudhishthira to participate in the great sacrifice were all the exalted demigods, including Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva and Indra, the King of Heaven, accompanied by their associates, as well as the predominating deities of the higher planetary systems, including Gandharva Loka, Siddha Loka, Jana Loka, Dapo Loka, Naga Loka, Yaksha Loka, Rakshasa Loka, Bakshi Loka, and Charana Loka, as well as famous kings and their queens. All the respectable sages, kings, and demigods who assembled there agreed unanimously that King Yudhishthira was quite competent to take the responsibility of performing the Rajasuya sacrifice. No one was in disagreement of this fact. Everyone thoroughly knew the position of King Yudhishthira because he was a great devotee of Lord Krishna. No accomplishment was extraordinary for him. The learned brahmanas and priests saw to it that the sacrifice by Maharaj Yudhishthira was performed in exactly the same way as it had been in bygone ages by the demigod Varuna. According to the Vedic system, whenever there is an agreement for sacrifice, the members participating are offered the juice of the soma plant, which is a kind of life-giving beverage. On the day for extracting the soma juice, King Yudhishthira very respectfully received the special priest who had been engaged to detect any mistake in the formalities of the sacrificial procedure. The idea is that the Vedic mantras must be enunciated perfectly and chanted with the proper accent. If the priests who are engaged in this business commit any mistake, the checker or referee priest immediately corrects the procedure, and thus the ritualistic performances are perfectly executed. Unless perfectly executed, a sacrifice cannot yield the desired result. In this age of Kali, there is no such learned Brahmana or priest available. Therefore, all such sacrifices are forbidden. The only sacrifice recommended in the Shastras is the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Another important procedure is that the most exalted personality in the assembly of such a sacrificial ceremony is first offered worship. After all arrangements were made for Yudhishthira's sacrifice, the next consideration was who should be worshipped first in the ceremony. This particular ceremony is called Agra Puja. Agra means first, and Puja means worship. This Agra Puja is similar to the election of a president. In the sacrificial assembly, all the members were very exalted. Some proposed to elect one person as the perfect candidate for accepting Agra Puja, and others proposed someone else. When the matter remained undecided, Sahadev began to speak in favor of Lord Kṛṣṇa. He said, Lord Kṛṣṇa, the best amongst the members of the Yadu dynasty and the protector of his devotees, is the most exalted personality in this assembly. Therefore, I think that he should, without any objection, be offered the honor of being worshipped first. Although demigods such as Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Indra, and many other exalted personalities are present in this assembly, no one can be equal to or greater than Lord Kṛṣṇa in terms of time, space, riches, strength, reputation, wisdom, renunciation, or any other consideration. Anything considered an opulence is fully present in Kṛṣṇa. As an individual soul is the basic principle of the growth of his material body, Kṛṣṇa is the super soul of this cosmic manifestation. All Vedic ritualistic ceremonies, such as the performance of sacrifices, the offering of oblations into the fire, the chanting of the Vedic hymns, and the practice of mystic yoga, are meant for realizing Kṛṣṇa. Whether one follows the path of fruitive activities or the path of philosophical speculation, the ultimate destination is Kṛṣṇa. All bona fide methods of self-realizations are meant for understanding Kṛṣṇa. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the superfluous. It is superfluous to speak about Kṛṣṇa, because every one of you exalted personalities knows the Supreme Brahman, Lord Kṛṣṇa, for whom there are no material differences between body and soul, between energy and the energetic, or between one part of the body and another. Since everyone is part and parcel of Kṛṣṇa, there is no qualitative difference between Kṛṣṇa and all the living entities. Everything is an emanation of Kṛṣṇa's energies, material and spiritual. Kṛṣṇa's energies are like the heat and light of fire. There is no difference between the quality of heat and light and the fire itself. Also, Kṛṣṇa can do anything he likes with any part of his body. We can execute a particular action with the help of a particular part of our body, but he can do anything and everything with any part of his body. And because his transcendental body is full of knowledge and bliss in eternity, he doesn't undergo the 6 kinds of material changes: birth, existence, growth, production, dwindling, and vanishing. Unforced by any external energy, he is the supreme cause of the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of everything that be. By the grace of Kṛṣṇa only, everyone is engaged in the practice of religion, the development of economic conditions, the satisfaction of the senses, and ultimately the achievement of liberation from material bondage. These four principles of progressive life can be executed by the mercy of Kṛṣṇa only. He should therefore be offered the first worship in this great sacrifice, and no one should disagree. Just as by watering the root of a tree, one automatically waters the branches, twigs, leaves, and flowers. Or as by supplying food to the stomach, one automatically nourishes all parts of the body. So by offering the first worship to Kṛṣṇa, we shall satisfy everyone present in this meeting, including the great demigods. If anyone is charitably disposed, it will be very good for him to give charity only to Kṛṣṇa, who is the super soul of everyone, regardless of his particular body or individual personality. Kṛṣṇa is present as the super soul in every living being, and if we can satisfy him, then every living being will automatically be satisfied. Sahadev was fortunate to know that the glories of Kṛṣṇa, and after describing them in brief, he stopped speaking. After this speech, all the members present in the great sacrificial assembly applauded, confirming his words continuously by saying, quote, "Everything you have said is completely perfect. Everything you have said is completely perfect." End quote. King Yudhisthira, after hearing the confirmation by all present, especially by the Brahmanas and learned sages, worshipped Lord Kṛṣṇa according to the regulative principles of the Vedic injunctions. First of all, King Yudhisthira, along with his brothers, wives, children, other relatives, and ministers, washed the lotus feet of Lord Kṛṣṇa and sprinkled the water on their heads. After this, he offered Lord Kṛṣṇa various kinds of yellow silken garments and presented heaps of jewelry and ornaments before him for his use. King Yudhisthira felt such ecstasy by honoring Kṛṣṇa, his only lovable object, that tears glided down from his eyes, and although he wanted to see Lord Kṛṣṇa, he could not see him very well. When Lord Kṛṣṇa was thus worshipped by King Yudhisthira, all the members present in the assembly stood up with folded hands and began to chant, "Jai, Jai, Namah, Namaha." All joined together to offer their respectful obeisances to Kṛṣṇa, and there were showers of flowers from the sky.
Okay, you can hold there for a moment. Our practice is to summarize the chapter, but since this is a long chapter, maybe we'll summarize the first half, and then shall we divide in two or go on to the second half?
Divide into two.
Divide into two. It's a long one. Okay. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Viditam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tathati Shapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapada Kamalang. There's a chair there. Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Vadipriye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vashadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'm just looking at space here. You can fill in this space here. Some of the men can take these luxurious chairs. Space here, next to Pavan Prabhu. No, there's no false humility here. You're taking up valuable floor space. Vasudev, pull up a royal throne. Okay. Mani Mandri, why don't you take a place here next to Guru Bhakti? Okay, we opened up a little space. And, yeah. Okay, we're doing a little better. Okay. So we've been leading up to this point of the performance of the Rajasuya sacrifice. All the potentially opposing kings needed to be subdued, and particularly this Jarasandha needed to be killed. That was accomplished. And yeah, there's an empty seat there for one of the ladies, I think. That seat is there just waiting for you. And the ladies can move up a little more, I think. And the men can move up a little more. We need spaces at a premium. Okay. This Rajasuya sacrifice is a great fruitive activity, actually. It's performed for going to heavenly planets and so on. But Yudhisthira Maharaj wanted to perform it just to glorify Krishna. And in the meeting, there's a Agra Puja. Someone is elected president of the assembly, essentially, the first person to be worshipped in the assembly. That's the Agra Puja. So who will be honored first? That was the question. And it was a question because there were so many qualified candidates. But when no one could decide on a candidate, then Sahadev, the Pandava, rose and spoke in favor of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And let's see. He gives his arguments for Krishna's supremacy. All the Vedic hymns are meant for knowing Krishna. All the yoga systems are meant for knowing Krishna. Fruitive activities and philosophical speculation, they're all meant for Krishna. Every bona fide method of self-realization is meant for Krishna. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything is his energy. For him, there's no duality between body and soul, between one sense and another sense. So everyone should agree that Krishna should be selected as the person to be worshipped first. King Yudhisthira Maharaj was in ecstasy. He washed the lotus feet of Krishna and performed the worship of the Lord according to regulative principles, and tears glided from his eyes, and everyone in the assembly stood up and glorified Krishna. Jai, Jai, Namah, Namaha. And we'll see what happens next. Any questions or comments so far? Yes.
Hare Krishna. When when Krishna was present there, then it's difficult to understand why so much confusion was there. So many people were kind of.
If Krishna was present there, why was there such confusion? Because not everybody understood that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is there. Lord Brahma is there. What is that? Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavrata. And what is that other verse? Avajananti Manashim Tanamasha. Krishna was performing his pastimes like a human being, and when he performs pastimes, he's good at it. He's persuasive. People think he's like a human being. So not everyone, the Pandavas understood, a few others, Bhishma understood, but not everyone understood that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But here, yes. Is that all right? Anand Vrindavan Prabhu.
Maharaj, the biggest problem in our Krishna consciousness, once we advance in Krishna consciousness, is the problem of envy.
Problem of envy.
Envy.
Yes.
This is what the problem is going to come.
Yes.
Shishupal. Now the biggest thing that comes in our life is, envy is that type of a thing where only...
If you hold the microphone here.
Envy is that type of a thing where other devotees cannot even understand that we are suffering from envy. Other devotees go on pampering us, glorifying us, all those things will go on. But Krishna just checks it out that our envy is going in a very big way. And that makes our Krishna consciousness absolutely difficult to maintain it out. Now, in that circumstances, when that envy is going to go on, when envy goes on increasing, and other devotees don't even understand also that we are suffering from envy, and we don't have that type of a humility to go and approach to other devotees and say that please help me out to see to it that this envy of mine goes away. In that circumstances, to see to it that our Krishna consciousness doesn't get sacrificed, and our Krishna consciousness doesn't get sacrificed, and that envy doesn't becoming a big obstacle in our Krishna consciousness, and we remain very smooth and committed to Krishna consciousness. How to see to it that thing happens in our life? What is the action that we have to do it?
What do we have to do to get rid of envy? As far as I can understand, and I think there's a reference to this effect in the first canto, that we get rid of envy by appreciation of others. The tendency is when someone else has something we don't have, then we become envious. Why him, not me? Why her, not me? So we want to practice appreciation. That it's so nice that this person is more qualified in some way. I think you know Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur had a practice. If there were some meeting of his disciples, he would appoint someone to glorify someone else. So now Yati Maharaj will glorify Paramhansa Maharaj. And of course, it's understood that among the devotees there may be some friction, there may be some political feeling, there may be some envy, there may be some whatever. So we're thinking, this person is always like, he's not very strict. He's always sort of like doing acting whimsically. He's not very pakka. And besides that, he doesn't speak very nicely. And this person, he speaks nicely, but he doesn't really know the philosophy. In other words, none of them are really on my level. That tendency is there to envy. So he used to appoint that now such and such will glorify such and such. And when you glorify such and such, then you have to see the good qualities. And that's an antidote for envy. Our tendency is to find the bad qualities, find fault. This is feeding back just a little bit. Pavan Prabhu? There's just a little feedback there, I think. Our tendency is to find the bad qualities, because if someone's bad, then I'm good. So if we practice the opposite, to find the good qualities, then that acts as an antidote, as an antidote. Another thing is we can remember that better, worse, who are we compared to Kṛṣṇa? We're all like bugs, like insects. We're tiny. First thing is we need to appreciate the other devotees, and we need to appreciate Kṛṣṇa. If we don't appreciate, because that's where envy begins. Why should, just like that, who was it? Shankachuda. Why should Kṛṣṇa have these nice girls to be enjoying with? Let me take them. That's the tendency. Why should this person have this? Why shouldn't I? Nations or individuals or groups. No, we want what the other side has. And it starts at the top, that we're envious of Kṛṣṇa. That's the root cause. So if we increase our appreciation of Kṛṣṇa and our realization of our smallness in relationship to Kṛṣṇa, that ought to help us.
Maharaj, this envy comes only when we spend more years in devotional life. This envy comes only when we spend more years in devotional life.
No, it comes early, but we recognize it a little more.
So what happens is...
There's another thought I had. We can appreciate those who are non-envious. Nirmatsuro Pujito. The 6 Goswamis had that quality. They were free from envy. We need to squish up a little more. We've got more people coming in. Togetherness here. There's some space in the back. The ladies can shift this way a little bit. There we go. And the men need to make a pathway in the back. Rasta chahiye. Ladies ke liye. Okay. So we can appreciate those who are non-envious. Nirmatsaranam satam. Then, we tend to become like what we appreciate. If we appreciate thieves, we'll want to cultivate thievish tendencies.
Maharaj, what happens practically in Krishna consciousness when we spend some more years in devotional life? So naturally, all other devotees glorify you. They make you, give you lots of respect, lots of adoration and everything.
And then we can envy the people who don't have to put up with that.
So that is where the problem comes of it. Because we have got so much glorification and so much adoration, even if we have envy, we don't check it out. We don't see it. We don't even try to evaluate also that I'm envious, because so much glorification we get.
Envy or any other good quality, any other bad quality, we think, now I'm the reservoir of all good qualities. Everybody says so. So we need to be careful about feeding on glorification, getting our jollies, as they say in Britain, getting eating that food, that they're glorifying me, and I accept that this is all meant for me. Therefore, one is advised that there's a nice. Some of you may have sometimes hear the classes given by Hari Parshad Prabhu. If you haven't heard his classes, very nice classes. He likes to end his classes by quoting a verse to the effect that if there's anything that you heard discrepant in the class, that's my fault. And if there was anything good that you heard in the class, that's because of my Guru Varga, because of my Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru. Not that it's my credit. If I said some good things, it's because I'm pretty smart. No, the credit goes to the superior. So if one is glorified as a guru, as a senior devotee, as a advanced devotee or whatever, then that credit belongs to my guru, that credit belongs ultimately to Krishna. Not that I have to sort of divert the energy and like block the dam up the stream by claiming that glorification for myself. That should be passed on. Otherwise, as you're pointing out, we'll start poisoning ourselves.
Maharaj, to be very simple in a very straightforward way, what should be a simple formula that a devotee has to keep in his mind, that under any circumstances, the envy doesn't enter only in our consciousness? I don't know, but because
I can't think of any way to keep envy from entering our consciousness, but at least when it enters, we should kick it out. And all sorts of bad qualities will enter into our consciousness. Unless of course, the simple formula is, if we're filled with Krishna consciousness, nothing can enter. Prabhupada gave the example that if there's a glass of milk, if it's half full, then the other half can fill up with ink. But if it's full, then there's no place for the ink to enter. So, Kirtaniya Sada, if we're always chanting the holy name of Krishna, if we're always engaged in Krishna consciousness, where's the time or scope for envy? We're too busy for envy, no time, and no interest. That's the real thing. And if it does enter, what are you doing here? Is that okay?
Hi. I asked a question to His Holiness Bhaktivaibhava Swami.
You asked a question of His Holiness Bhaktivaibhava Swami?
It's about Krishna's mercy. And then my question goes,
Microphone use.
how do we understand Krishna's mercy? Because as devotees,
How do we understand Krishna's mercy?
Because as devotees, we are told to accept every situation. We find ourselves as Krishna's mercy. So how do I understand whatever situation I find myself as Krishna's mercy, or my stupidity, or it's my good or bad karma, or it's...
Well, they're all Krishna's mercy. Our bad karma is one kind of mercy from Krishna. Even our stupidity is another kind of mercy. You wanted it, you got it. So the best policy is to take it that everything is Krishna's mercy. If I'm getting smashed, what is that? Yata tata va. Whatever comes my way, that's Krishna's mercy. Is that okay? Now, there was a question in the back, I think.
I was thinking about this topic of envy, that Yudhisthira Maharaj is now worshipping Krishna and tears are flowing down his eyes. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that, why did Shishupal allow him to begin worshipping? And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that not only if he had objected to Krishna's being selected for the Agra Puja, then somebody else would have been selected and things would have gone on as normal. So not only did he not want Krishna to be selected, but he wanted to ruin King Yudhishthira's sacrifice. So talk about envy. It wasn't just that he wanted Krishna to fail, but he wanted to ruin the whole thing. And
this we find in children, you know. If I can't have it, then it should be broken. Right? If I can't have this toy, I'd rather see it broken. That's envy. Yes.
Now this discussion has come up before, and you said that envy and jealousy are synonymous, but I know it's widely distributed in classes, the information that the difference is that envy means you don't want the other person to have it, and jealousy means you want it, but they can also have it. Has there been a firm resolution on the meaning of these words? Are they definitely synonymous, or?
Well, first thing is, I don't know of any Shastric reference for that distinction. Without going deep into the dictionary, we'll go a little into the dictionary. As far as I understand, there's no such distinction.
Has anyone else heard that?
Resentful desire. Envy is resentful desire of something possessed by someone else. Yeah. There's also an obsolete sense of hatred, which is a use that Prabhupada actually uses a lot, envious, in the sense of hatred. But in the present context, we're talking about resentful desire. We want it and we're sorry that someone else has it. Now jealousy. Yeah, a resentment towards someone for perceived advantage or superiority they hold, envy toward another person's possessions, synonymous. So I don't know where this distinction, supposed distinction, comes from. I'm not envious, I'm only jealous. No. You know that story that Prabhupada told to illustrate envy about the lawyers? There's some lawyers that are sitting and one of them says, you know, Chakrabarti's been elected to the Supreme Court bench. You know, one of their colleagues, he's been posted to the High Court bench. It's just, Chakrabarti? Him? That guy? Not possible. No, I've seen, he's sitting on the bench. Chakrabarti? No. Yes, he's sitting there. Then he must not be getting paid. Yeah, Westerners may not immediately click with that kind of humor, but that was Prabhupada's example. Chakrabarti. Then he must not be getting paid. Okay. Yes.
Hare Krishna. We come to Krishna consciousness and we think we have one fault or one problem. We think we have one fault or one problem.
Yes.
We lack love or happiness. Then we come to Krishna consciousness and over time we realize we have 1,000 problems. We have 1,000 faults within us as we become more self-aware of this envy, this anger, everything inside of us. And actually we begin to think like, oh, I'm just a bunch of faults. I'm actually low. So that feeling of that maybe not the best person, is that a good thing to think as it is a reality check? Or is that actually fueling my ego, thinking I am so low and therefore putting yourself again on the pedestal?
We have to see everything in such a way that it's in proper relationship to Krishna consciousness. If the result of my feeling, we're advised that we should feel that we're lowly persons, that we're not very qualified. We're advised that because that's favorable for Krishna consciousness. If I'm not very qualified, then I have to depend on Krishna. I have to look toward Krishna. So that's recommended, amanina manadena. But like anything else, if it becomes a source of self-absorption, I'm the least qualified, I'm this, I'm that, then you forget Krishna. Then what's the benefit? What's the benefit? So, of course, you say thousands of disqualifications. Really, we have one disqualification, that we forget Krishna. Everything else is details. Our one disqualification is that we turn away from Krishna, we forget Krishna. And if we remember Krishna, then good. One time Satsvarup Maharaj asked Srila Prabhupada, how can I think that I'm the most disqualified? I think that was, Prabhupada said, oh no, how can I think that I'm nothing? You know, we always think that we're great. Give a path so ladies can come through. And I hope there's a place for them to come through too. Yes, there's some chairs here. A chair. So how can I think that I'm nothing? And Prabhupada said, you're not nothing, you're something. But you're not what you think you are. We're not this body and so on. So we have to think that way. I heard today that how can I think that I'm the most fallen? Prabhupada said, you're not the most anything. You're not the most anything. So there's a guidance, I believe it's mentioned in the purports of either Narada Bhakti Sutra or prayers of King Kulashekar, that one should not take any of these things to the point where it becomes self-indulgent. I'm so fallen, that's good. But I'm so fallen I can't serve, that's not good. You know, and sometimes we hear that, Raj, I'm so fallen I can never serve. Get out of it, just do some service, and, we don't want to hear about it. Because it becomes pratikul. To think that I'm very fallen is anukul, that's good, that's a qualification. But when it's taken to the point where, because I'm so fallen I won't serve, then it becomes pratikul, it becomes unfavorable. Hare Krishna. Kiladar Prabhu, that chair is yours. It's got your name on it. Hare Krishna. Is that okay? Yeah. I'm running out of solutions about where people can sit. You can move over a little more. Can move forward a little more. Anand Vrindavan, have a chair, maybe. Okay, look, space is opening up. You're a dangerous man to give questions to. Yes.
Maharaj, you have spent lots of years in devotional life. And definitely everybody has to go through lots of ups and downs in devotional life. Nobody is spared out. Everybody has to go for a purification phase. And unless until you are not purified, you cannot advance. So everybody has to go through it. So after spending so many years in devotional life, what is your hardcore realization that which is the biggest obstacle every devotee will be facing in their Krishna consciousness? Whosoever has come into Krishna consciousness has to face that problem in their spiritual life. And when that problem will be coming in their spiritual life, what is the best solution to overcome it out?
We discussed that the biggest problem is forgetfulness of Krishna. And the overcoming is remember Krishna. Smartavyam satatam Vishnu vismartavyam nijatujit. I don't have a particular, envy is the worst, or pride is the worst, or this one's the worst, or that one's the worst. Forgetfulness of Krishna is the worst. Even if I'm proud and arrogant and all of those things, somehow if I can remember Krishna, then I'm okay. And if I forget Krishna, then all my good qualities, Kito Mahaguna.
I fully agree, Maharaj, but if at all other than this, is it some anarthas which will be coming in our life, and that might be some anartha which everybody has to face it out?
It's hard for me to say because I'm not everybody. I know what my experience is, I don't know what your experience is, and even if I knew yours, I wouldn't know everyone's. I'm not the super soul, so I can't say the answer. As far as I've seen, it seems like different people have different issues. Someone it's pride, someone it's envy, someone it's lust, someone it's anger, someone it's something else. Not that there's one size fits all, one anartha, that's the big anartha that everybody has to deal with. That would make life too simple. It seems like there's a broad array of anarthas to choose from, and people make different choices.
Maharaj, another question which comes in our mind is, when a person spends more and more years in devotional life, and when age comes up, when you become old enough, there may be a very different set of problems that will be coming on the devotee, which you might be going through right now. So in the old age, what is the biggest problem that a devotee will be facing in his life, and how to overcome it out?
Forgetfulness of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Do we have other questions? Yes.
Maharaj, in the shloka evam parampara saikala nehmeta yogo nashta parantapa. This shloka in Bhagavad Gita, saikale nehmeta yogo nashta. So can you explain how a parampara is destroyed with time? What are the factors and how does
the parampara get destroyed? Sakalineha mahata, over a long time. Someplace I was just reading for something I'm writing, the Prabhupada says this is how it's destroyed. Somebody adds something else, something. By changing. That's the problem with these portable mics. You can't take them away and cough. We add, we change. Somebody adds something, and then somebody elaborates on that, and then someone's got a new variation on that, and pretty soon the thing is lost. Therefore, Prabhupada was again and again, and don't add anything, don't change anything. Otherwise, we think, well, this would be good, and we add something, and somebody likes that. Now that becomes the thing, and then somebody has a new improvement on that, and then and pretty soon it's gone. Pretty soon it's gone. So if you, in one sense, what's the hardest thing to do? Just keep, like, what does Vishnu do? He maintains. To maintain things, to preserve things. That's hard. Or in another sense, it's easy. Just don't add, don't change. But that's what we're meant to do. Just keep things as they are. Prabhupada's like a postal peon. Postal peon doesn't get paid to add something, improve on the message, change something, leave something out. He just has to deliver the message. So if we do that, then our business is perfect. If we start opening up the envelope and thinking, well, it would be better if we then Sakalaneha Mahata Yoga Nashta.
So Maharaj, even if a devotee is lying in that Guru Shishya Parampara, so then also it is risky to receive knowledge through that disciplic parampara. There is also a possibility that the knowledge that he got from his Guru can be changed or can have little added information? Is there a
possibility, in the world of possibilities, but parampara means the thing is kept intact. That's the idea of parampara. Just to pass on the message without changing. Externally, the bottle may change, but the wine shouldn't change. Prabhupada said. Okay. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, this 11th chapter in which Krishna says, Bhagavad Gita, 11th chapter, Krishna says that I am the time destroyer, that whole verse. So, means sometimes the people who don't read in parampara and other things, they have this question.
People who
are not in parampara, they make their own commentaries like that. So they have this notion that this person who is speaking that I am the Kal, he is the person who is speaking from inside Krishna.
He is the person speaking from inside Krishna.
Inside Krishna. So he is the main person under whom Krishna is also subservient. Krishna is under him. So how to answer them, Maharaj?
How to understand that? Well, we understand that it's a concoction. Where is it answered? Krishna says, Matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti jan. There is no higher thing than me. So where are you getting this idea that there's some higher thing? Krishna says, Matta parataram nanyat. And Krishna doesn't say, time is within me. Kala asmi. I am time. Asmi means I am, and Kal means time. So what is this reading? Time is within me.
They said, Maharaj, that this is shloka that Kal is speaking inside the Krishna.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
I told them,
not Kal Uvacha. If time was speaking, it would say Sri Kal Uvacha. It says Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. So why are you giving this needless idea that Sri Kal Uvacha?
Thank you, Maharaj.
As it is, don't change it. Krishna says, I'm time. He doesn't say time is within me. And there's no time speaking separately. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kalosmi. I'm time.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Is that a question?
Hare Krishna. I was just wondering how you stay so simple.
How I stay so simple?
Yeah.
Well, I was born a simpleton. I haven't changed much.
Okay.
Kiladar Prabhu has something.
Especially in this younger generation.
Hold on, we're giving you a microphone.
Especially we're here with the next generation, and I'm regularly dealing with this issue, and you were just addressing it about keeping the parampara as Prabhupada gave it, and you know very well this issue as more than anybody. And your second edition, I mean not yours, but your second edition, what do you call it, the foreword or some appendix explaining the republication of the
Bhagavad Gita. For those
to explain that so they can address that issue and understand it.
Yeah, I'm done with that issue. I've retired from editorial
Yeah, but
affairs.
many of this generation and their people are
people have questions. In previous days, they could go to bbtedit.com where the questions were answered. The website is broken, so go to the Wayback Machine. You're familiar with the Wayback Machine? If you go to archives.org, there's a Wayback Machine. The Wayback Machine, you just put in your website address, and it'll show you snapshots of the website you entered, going back a year, going back 2 years, going back. So go back a year when the website was working, because it's broken now. Go back a year and then look at the website, and almost every question is answered there.
Yeah, and you gave that paper also.
Everything is there.
Yeah.
It's all. And if it's not there, write to the BBT.
And just not on behalf of me, because I have my own personal question, but since I'm seeing I'd like to, because I've read the book.
You're going to plug my book.
Yeah, and
okay.
I come. Yeah, and I came from a similar background like you, and
if you'd like to read the book, this is a book. It's won an award from the Independent Book Publishers Association. It's Kṛṣṇa conscious, and what else should we say about it? You should, and we have copies. How many copies?
Right now we have 3. I can have more in 4 minutes.
Okay. Whatever you like. They're in America. They're $15.95. Here, they're whatever you want to give. You can pass this back. And Radhesha will sign it for you, right?
But I had a personal, unique. I just like to, since it's there and they're here, to just be able to share my personal experience. It's a unique, one-of-a-kind book that has never been done before. I don't know if it will ever be done again, but to crack the Jewish Kṛṣṇa connection, it's never been done.
Well, I can say with some
Not
confidence,
like this.
like this or some. I can say with some confidence that this appears to be the first book-length commentary or full commentary on a book of the Bible from a Hindu point of view. There are Christian commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, quite several of them, full, commentaries. But there's no other commentary on the book of the Bible from a Kṛṣṇa conscious or Hindu point of view. So those who are RSS men and so on, you can all buy copies. BJP followers, RSS followers.
It's like a Jewish version of the instructions of Rishabdev to his sons.
It's actually a very non-Jewish sort of book. It's a commentary on
But how you completely...
And for more than that, you have to read the book. Okay.
But how you completely smash any hope for finding that there's any chance of finding any kind of happiness in this world. That's completely.
Well, I don't smash anything. I just quote
Not
Srimad
smashing,
Bhagavatam.
but the book does it. The Ecclesiastes does it.
He also does it. That's an attractive feature that. The book I'm commenting does a lot of the heavy lifting for us. Arguments that we would make, he already makes, so we can go on from there. And he does a bang-up job of it. He's really persuasive. For those of it's a very pessimistic book. Somebody said, I was reading that a pessimist is a well-informed optimist. A pessimist is a well-informed optimist. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. I was just wondering, under what circumstances might it be plausible or okay to turn down a service?
In what circumstances would it be plausible to turn down a service?
Yeah, like might it be okay or logical to turn down a service? Because
if it's not your prescribed duty, if it's contrary or out of sync with what your spiritual master wants you to do.
Yeah.
If it prevents you from doing some other service which has priority, those would be some examples. It's not that any service that we're asked we have to do because I never turned down a service. As a matter of practicality, of course we'd like to say yes to every service, and if you can do it, great. But at a certain point, you're going to overload, and you're going to have to say, my plate is full, or just, that's not what I do. No, I'm not going to babysit your kid.
I think I was wondering also because and I think you were touching on it, that I often question my motivations, accepting or rejecting a service. And I often think maybe sometimes I'm considering not doing it just because of
that's good. You
fear
should
of being disturbed or something.
Consider what we do and ask ourselves, am I doing it for a good reason or a bad reason? Nothing wrong with being, but you don't want to spend the rest of your life, well, am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? You know, you're still, 10 years later, you're still debating whether you should have accepted that service. You know, we get on with life. But Prabhupada says in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita that was Arjuna's qualification, that he was considering that, is this right for me to fight? So as devotees, we're meant to look at it that way and say, am I refusing this service because of genuinely good reason, or is it just that I'm lazy and I want to eat prasadam and go to sleep? Okay. Have we reached the end? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, my question is to do with deity worship.
Deity worship.
That sometimes we see that grihastas prefer to worship their deities at home instead of serving the deities at the temple. And then that made me consider this whole COVID situation, where it actually made devotees very comfortable just being at home and not coming to the temple anymore. At least that's a problem where I am. And I was wondering, is there any way you can think of that we could get devotees to come back to the temple because they were forced to be isolated?
Just make new ones.
Yes. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Like sometimes our one round of chanting takes 10 minutes. Like, is there any measure to check whether our chanting one round should take this much time? Or like
sounds like you already took measures. That's how you know it's 10 minutes.
Sometimes it's taking 10 minutes or more. Is it like I'm sleeping or any measure?
There's no rule how many minutes a round should take. It can take 10 minutes, it can take 8 minutes, it can take 6 minutes, it can take 12 minutes. Just try to hear with attention. There's no rule, it has to be so many minutes. Try to hear with attention.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. It is said that we can enjoy the process of Krishna consciousness. In the sense, Prabhupada said once that even we have a desire, even if we remain with a desire to eat gulab jamun, again we have to take birth in this world. So once upon a time. So
Wait a second, stop there. Where's your authority? How do you know Prabhupada said this?
In one lecture I heard.
Lecture you heard?
One devotee was quoting Prabhupada.
Where was he quoting from? Even if you have a desire to eat a gulab jamun, you have to come back to this material world.
Because of this enjoying mentality only we were into this world.
Enjoyment tendency, but I suspect that if you have a desire to eat a gulab jamun, you may not have to take birth again. I can give you a Prabhupada said. That one time Prabhupada said, so many times I hear Prabhupada said, and I have not said. My god sister Lakshmi Moni has related that one time Prabhupada gave her some instruction about, I think it was deity worship or something. And she said, but Prabhupada said, and he said, I'm Prabhupada and I'm saying. There's also a story, this directly touches on the crucial point of gulab jamuns. There was one incident, it's a little, maybe not as famous as it was before, but we can bring it up again. At one time, Srila Prabhupada took a gulab jamun and gave it to His Holiness Tamal Kṛṣṇa Maharaj. And Tamal Kṛṣṇa Maharaj very happily put it on his plate. And another godbrother, Jayagopal, snatched it. And you can imagine how Tamal Kṛṣṇa Goswami felt about that. And but Prabhupada smiled. So it appeared that, if we analyze carefully, it appeared that Jayagopal had a desire to enjoy that gulab jamun. And it appeared that Srila Prabhupada approved. We're just about at the end of our time. And what we do when we're just about at the end of our time is chant Hare Krishna. It's a good thing for everyone to do when you're just about at the end of your time. All of us. And who's leading Kirtan today? And we also have some prasadam for you, a little bit. So on your way out, as you leave, be sure to take some little Mahaprasadam. And there's 2 books still here. And where are we meeting tomorrow? We're meeting every day. We're doing this from 5 to 6:30. And everyone is welcome. And are we meeting here again tomorrow? Tomorrow's here. And we may explore a larger venue if we can pull it off. But I think tomorrow may still be here, and then we'll, if we change, we'll send up a flare. Are you leading the kirtan? Okay, you're presenting the harmonium to whoever does want to lead kirtan.
Since you have it.
You want to give her the wireless instead of Huh? You want to give her the wireless, the hand-on thing? Yeah, why not?
Hare Krishna. Jai. It's a new experience. Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare
Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath, Sham Kun Radha Kunigiri Govardhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadip Dham ki jai, Jagannath Puri ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamana Mai ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Thank you all again for coming. I still have 2 books left. 1 book left. No books left, but there'll be more tomorrow. Come tomorrow? Or if somebody follows us to our place behind the MVT, we have 20 or so more. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. I was thinking.